Moción, negada.
No.
We will call the Rules Committee meeting of the Cherokee Nation to order. At this time, I'm going to ask Councilor Thornton, would you bless the meeting?
Dear Heavenly Father, be with each and every counselor here today and with our audience and administration. Help us make the right decisions on these programs. Help our people in any way we can. Heavenly Father, in Jesus Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Roll call, Shelley.
Sir, Joe Byrd,
Ani.
Frankie Hargis,
Present.
Bill England,
Here.
Keith Austin,
Here.
Jack Baker,
Here.
Harley Bezer,
Here.
Sean Crittenden, Don Garvin, Wanda Hatfield, Craig Stewart,
Here.
Dick Lay,
Here.
Curtis Snell,
Here.
Denise Taylor, David Thornton, Victoria Vesquez,
Money.
David Walkingstick,
Money.
Brian Warner.
Aye.
We have a quorum.
Okay, we have two sets of minutes here at this time. I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Got a motion?
Second.
And a second?
Speaker,
Yes.
on the regular session minutes, there is a correction, I believe, that needs to be made. It's on page 4, down at the bottom, and it says Councilor Lay requested his proposed amendments. And if I recall correctly, he requested that they be withdrawn
Okay, page 4.
on the regular session.
Okay.
Is it that last one?
Okay, everybody have that? Okay.
Now, what you say? He requested his amendments be withdrawn. Oh, okay.
Okay, if everybody's okay with that, you're doing a friendly with that, or you're just making a suggestion? Just a correction? Okay, are we good with that, Jack?
That's the bottom of page 4, very last.
In your book, it's page
Yeah.
12. And it would be the next to last paragraph, the last line.
Oh, okay.
Okay, all right. Okay. Councilor Warner?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda.
Okay, got a motion to amend the agenda? What's that?
What are we amending?
To move item number 4, which is the trust litigation. Item number 5, which is the legislative Cherokee annotated nation code, and in new business, item number 1, above our reports.
Okay. Okay, you got a motion and a second. So you're saying new business, old business number 1 as well?
No, old business 4 and 5, new business 1.
Okay.
I'd like to add number 1 to that.
You'd like to add number 1 to that? Or we're just saying do the, take care of old business?
Old business,
If it's okay with the council, why don't we just take care of old business?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay?
Okay.
That will be the cemetery, the nominations, 1, 2, and 3. Is that okay? Yes.
Friendly to just move the reports after all of old business and new business?
I'll accept.
Is that okay? Yeah,
sir.
let's do it that way. Makes it much easier. Okay, you got a motion second, just to move the reports to the back and take care of old business and new business. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, all opposed? Okay. First, we have the discussion, possible action, cemetery restoration. We had spent quite a bit of time on that. So if you have any comments, then let's do it now. Let's move this thing, agenda item forward.
I'd like to put this in motion.
I'll make a motion that we accept the latest issue.
Okay?
I second.
Got a motion and a second. Discussion?
Where's the latest issue?
It should have been handed
On
out
your
down
desk.
here.
also emailed to us, I believe.
Yes, it's also emailed to you as well. Counselor Taylor, do you want to maybe highlight the changes that were made that might be of significance?
Okay, so we are requiring that the cemetery be historically significant, at least 51% Cherokee citizens. Applicant may apply for no more than 3 cemeteries. Applicants must have a federal employer identification number, not an individual social security number. Must have a board of 3 members. Maintain the cemetery's receipts submitted after
Mr. Chair,
funding.
can we discuss these as we're doing them, or do you want to come back and discuss them after?
We've already discussed these. I mean, we just took up the main things that everybody said that might need changing, but if you want to, we can.
Yeah, I have a problem with the E.
E?
Yes.
Okay,
Each applicant must have a federal tax EIN number.
okay,
That's going to be really difficult for a lot of our citizens that handle those cemeteries. A lot of them are just family members that handle the old family cemetery, and they probably don't have a clue how to go about getting an EIN number. So we've used social security numbers in the past, and I think we ought to leave it that way. Now, if you got a person that's handling 3 cemeteries or more, then I can see maybe getting those EIN numbers for them because they have a board. But a lot of these old cemeteries don't have a board. They're just family members that's taking care of them. They're trying to get a little money to buy a lawnmower or buy some gas, weed eaters and stuff like that. And I think we're going to make it difficult for some of these people to get those EIN numbers. And Social Security numbers worked in the past, so I don't know
It's on there.
why we couldn't do it.
okay. Yeah,
No, it says
Counselor,
each applicant must have a federal tax EIN number. No social security number will be accepted, and each applicant must have a board of at least 3 board members for accountability purposes.
Well, what's H on there for?
Pardon me?
H, what's it?
Okay, you need to look,
there's the handout.
you need-
I got extra handout over there.
Okay,
You got it?
got you.
Yeah, Counselor Jordan, did you want to make a comment?
I had a problem with that EIN number 2. COTA says that they're gonna take care of this. Said that in 5 minutes, they can have them one. They've assured us of that. And
Have
the
you ever
social-
applied for an EIN number, Rex?
Huh?
Have you ever applied to?
No, I hadn't.
Just wonder how easy it is to do.
I said 5 minutes.
I did it online last night for my mother for the family cemetery, and it did. It took about 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's what they're saying, about 5 minutes.
And the other thing with that is, I know a lot of these elderlies don't know how to get on the computer to get, but
Well, they
if
can
that can be
call
done,
800.
you know, then
I think another problem was the ones that was actually getting the cemetery money was filing for LIHEAP too.
Yeah.
And see, it shows that they done got $500. So that, I think that was a problem too.
Yeah, Harley, that's something we discussed with COTA the other day, or the CCO. They said that's why they don't want the social security numbers, because it was, if the person got LIHEAP and they got maybe some other help, donate foods or something, it was coming back and could be taxable to them.
Okay, if that's the case, I'm okay with it then.
But COTA also has an 800 number. They don't have to do it online. They can call the 800 number and do it that way. And they said they would be glad to help anybody.
Okay, then I'll withdraw. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, Counselor Baker.
On the second page, under selection, it says the application will be taken February 1st and ending August the 1st. And then under funding amount, the second sentence is, the Cherokee Cemetery received the funds must complete the project by the end of the fiscal year and submit receipts for the cemetery by September 1st. If they're approved on August 1st, they only have a month And sometimes these are being paid to individuals to mow throughout the year. So it may, in a lot of cases, the 500 will not be spent by September 1st.
Councilor Hargis, you want to address that? That was your,
We talked about that too, and they actually, I mean, we changed it, the deadline to applying for August 1st, because they had it at September 1st, and then getting all the receipts in September 1st. So we changed it back to August 1st being the last date you can apply for the assistance. But, I mean, they'd just have to make some purchases of something that somehow to get their receipts in by September 1st, so that they'd be eligible the next round.
Next fiscal year.
But if they're paying, say they're paying $100 to have it mowed every 2 to 3 weeks, it's going to be a few months before they get it spent.
Next fiscal year, or is it like the next month?
The next month.
Um,
They would have to have them in, that's the date we discussed, and what they said is September 1st, so that everything could be concluded and wrapped up before the new fiscal year began.
Because I think what it should be is that they can submit whatever they spent by September 1st, and then, see, by the next year, submit, before they apply for something else, submit the balance of the receipts.
you have a problem with that?
Well, that just means it's longer for them to drag it out, but,
Yeah.
you know. It's-
But I'm
That
just
would
saying the money will
allow
not be
everybody
spent,
to
though.
drag it out that long, so, I mean, I don't know.
They're just trying to close the books and get all the receipts in. One of the reasons we're even addressing this for people that in the audience that are fans here is there's been, this is a great concept. Give everybody $500, they take care of the cemeteries. It's not that easy. You got people wanting to take care of 8 to 10 cemeteries and turning in receipts for fuel, excessive receipts, people shopping at Walmart for things that do not apply to mowing a cemetery. Okay, so this is a great concept. We just got some few items here we need to amend. If everybody's in favor, then we'll move on with this, because we've had this in our hands for almost 6 months, and it's a good deal. Our people out there's ready to mow if we get this thing moving. So, Councilor Hargis, if you're willing to accept Councilor Baker, we'll try this. We can always come back and change it, okay?
So you just want to add,
That they should submit whatever receipts for whatever they paid
by September 1.
by September.
Go over the where everybody will know there, Jack. Which one are you saying there?
Under the funding amount.
Okay? So what do you want to change? So our
The Cherokee
second,
Cemetery receiving funds must complete the project by the end of the fiscal year.
okay?
Is they must submit receipts for any amount expended by the end of the fiscal year.
Okay, so you want to put the, you got that, Shelley? Okay. Is that okay,
And-
Counselor?
And account for the remaining funds before they can apply for any other
Yes.
grant.
Okay. We can live with that. Counselor,
So, yes, are you leaving funds must be, complete the project, is that staying?
No,
Okay, that's what I thought. So you strike that?
yes.
yes.
It's September 1st. It's the end of the year.
Yeah, he's, I think he wants to leave it September 1st. You just say October 1st.
Either one.
Okay. Okay. All right. Is that good with everybody?
How about if we put the Cherokee Cemetery receiving the funds, must submit receipts for any amount expended by September 1 and account for remaining funds by October 1?
We can do that.
Well, no, that still doesn't give them enough time. If they receive it in August and they mow part of that year and then this following spring, which I've seen happen.
So we go back to what, by January 1? Is that good?
No date.
Because they start applying again in February.
Yeah.
Right, well, that would be fine.
Okay. All right, Argus, read what you got.
Okay, the Cherokee Cemetery receiving the funds must submit receipts for any amount expended by September 1st and account for remaining funds by January 1st.
Which it may be easier just to put January 1.
No, because
Okay.
CCO needs to be able to clean up their books as soon as possible.
Okay.
And a lot of them will have
Right.
spent their money by September 1.
Yeah, it'll be pending.
Okay.
Okay. Is that good with everyone? Okay, you accepted that, Counselor Hargis? Okay, got a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Okay, Counselor Hargis, you want to take the next one?
This is a resolution confirming the nomination of Valerie J. Rogers as a governing board of the Cherokee Nation Home Health Services Incorporated. I put that in form of a motion.
Second.
Motion second. Discussion?
Is
All in
Valerie here?
favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, is Valerie here? Valerie, you want to come to the front here?
Take the walk.
Okay, you're in. Now tell us what you think.
Okay, well, I was born in Muskogee, and I've worked at Hastings Hospital since 1983. I started at the old hospital as a night shift nurse, worked my way up, and I retired last year at the end of October after 32 years of service. And now I don't know what to do with myself. I've worked my whole life, and I miss being in the service field. And I just want to be able to do something to help.
Sure. Well, we appreciate you wanting to come back and give back to the tribe. So, okay. I think you're up again. Counselor Hargis, you want to do that one?
Sure. This is a resolution confirming the nomination of Valerie J. Rogers as a governing board member of the Cherokee Nation Comprehensive Care Agency, also known as PACE, and I put that in form of a motion.
You got a motion and a second. Discussion? Yes, Counselor Buzzard.
Well, Valerie, I just want to thank you for willing to do this. But it takes a lot of, your time, and for doing this, it's a thankless job sometimes. So thank you for stepping up and doing it. Thank you.
I'll do my best.
You see what happens when you hold up your hand and want to volunteer? We just put you on every board and committee we can.
I just had my second grandbaby, so, and my grandbabies are in Texas, so that's kind of a long drive, so I don't have a lot of stuff to keep me occupied here in Cherokee County right now.
Okay, you have the motion and second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, congratulations. Okay, item number 4. Counselor Vasquez?
Yes. This is a resolution authorizing the Attorney General to commence litigation for an accounting of Cherokee Nation Trust assets, and I put this in the form of a motion.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Discussion? All in favor? Discussion, Counselor Lay?
Could someone tell us what it's about? Speak to me.
Yes, and, we have met in small groups of counselors to explain what the goal of this litigation is. Basically, the purpose of the litigation is to have an accounting and to rectify any and all trust violations or trust responsibilities that were not fulfilled by the United States to the Cherokee Nation. This is a monumental lawsuit. We discussed the details of the arrangement. I've done my best to answer every question that has been put forward. This does involve treaty rights, so therefore, in accordance with the Consent to Litigation Act, before going forward, we must have a council resolution. This is a once-in-a-lifetime type of suit, and we hope to
be very judicious in its prosecution, and hope to be a game changer for the Cherokee Nation when it's all complete.
Is this a waiver of sovereignty?
No, it is not.
Not a blanket waiver of sovereignty?
It is not a waiver of sovereignty whatsoever.
And so if you decided to do trust litigation, you would come back to the body to ask for waivers?
It will not require a waiver
Okay.
at all.
And the litigation would be against what entities?
United States government.
Thank you.
Okay. Counselor Buzzer?
Mr. Chair, and I don't know how far we can get into this contract with the firm, but I had sat in on one of those meetings, and I did hear the financial terms of the contract. I don't know that I have a big problem with it, but we're talking about quite a bit of money here, and I don't know if Attorney General can discuss that here in this meeting or not, but I would hope the other council members know what kind of finances is involved with this litigation or this hiring this company. I don't know if you sat in on the meeting or not, Speaker, but we're talking about quite a sum of money on those contracts, so I don't know. I don't know that I can. I think I supported it when I was at the meeting with those people, but still, we're looking at a lot of money. We don't know what the outcome's going to be until the outcome is done. So I just want everybody to be aware of that. So I don't know, Mr. Attorney General, if you can get into the contract.
Well, we can't get into the contracts. That's why we had the individual meetings. And like I said, I've made every effort to invite counselors to each one of the, we had 3 separate meetings to make sure that that we will be able to discuss, the basis of the lawsuit and how it's going to be put forward. And I will tell you, as I said in that meeting, it is very advantageous for the Cherokee Nation in the type of the way it's structured is. If I was the plaintiff in this lawsuit, I'd be comfortable with it.
Well, I attended the meeting, and I felt like I was okay with it during the meeting, but then I got to thinking about how it was structured on payments, and then I did have some thoughts about it. But I think, and overall, it's a good idea to do this. I know the other tribes have done it and been successful over some of these lawsuits, so we stand to win on some of these, I think. I don't know about all of them, but some of them I think we would, so. And it may be, but that's just my concern about it, but
Sure.
I think I would go ahead and support it the way it is. Anyway, Mr. Attorney General, but I just wanted to make the other council members aware of what's involved as far as the financial payments to this law firm.
Sure.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Counselor Thornton?
Todd, from what I know about this, it looks like to me it's going to take a special expertise to file this suit and stay with it for years. Because it isn't going to be over with in 1 year.
That's
I'll
correct.
be gone. I'll probably be in my grave when Cherokee Nation walks up and says, "Boy, we sure thank you for that." So,
I hope that's not the case, Counselor. But I will tell you, and this is something
I'll
we
be
can say.
for it.
Yeah, that it's. We hope to prosecute this within 3 years.
Okay.
I'm not making.
You'll make it.
You'll make it. You'll make it. You're too ornery not to make it. Anybody else? Counselor, yeah, Counselor Lay.
Yes, sir, and that prompted another question. Will you come back to us for each litigation, or is this going to shove it to you and give you blanket waiver to do your job?
It's going to be one lawsuit. It's not going to be a series of lawsuits. It's going to
Not
be
a series.
one major lawsuit. Now, when we either try this and get a verdict, or we settle this case, and I do believe it will settle at some point, the funds come to the Cherokee Nation, and as the holder of the purse strings, the tribal council will determine how those funds are used.
And touching base with Harley's thoughts about a law firm's gonna make a lot of money. You have one selected.
Yes. And yes. I mean, and I hope they make a lot of money, because if they make a lot of money, that means we made a whole bunch of money.
And can you tell us who that is, or?
I'd be happy to talk with you offline as to all the members of the firm and their particular expertise.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Counselor Walkenstick.
Did you guys ever, I know the firm's probably the same one that's paved the way for the other tribes, but is there some, no use of shopping around? Because, you know, as far as, the one thing I'm against is the money up front. That's my only hesitancy, is because it's a gamble. It's a low-risk gamble because the road's already been paved, but still a gamble of Cherokee people's money. And if I understand this right, the funds are coming from CMB, which that's our business arm, and they're known for gambling, put money out for business propositions, businesses. It's always a gamble. It's always a risk. That's my only hesitancy. You know, I know at Intertribal and talked to some other tribal officials that the contingency was the only financial payment for the tribes. They're asking us for upfront payment and then a contingency at the end of the settlement. We have to do this because it wouldn't be on the best interest of the tribe to not do it. And I know you guys probably worked out some percentages on contingencies that saves the tribe. We're probably getting a better deal than what the other tribes have gotten if awarded. But anyways, I just, that's my only hesitancy in this whole thing. I wish we could shop around, but it's smart to go with the same group that's already has everything in place and knows how to, I guess, strike the chords of the justices.
Right, and you wouldn't be a good steward of the Cherokee people's money if you didn't have this type of hesitancy or ask these kind of questions. So I applaud you for that. Yeah, we are using some of the same people, not all of them, but some of them. I feel very comfortable when and you said, we may have gotten a better deal than what other tribes have. I don't know the particulars, the total particulars of what other tribes have done, but I'm very comfortable with the arrangement that we have with this group of lawyers.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Speaker.
Anybody else? Counselor Taylor.
Do I recall correctly, the contingency up front comes off the final settlement?
That's right. I don't want to get too far. We're getting really kind of far into the contract, but you are correct in that.
So, in effect, we're not paying any more than anyone else?
Paying, well,
Paying
I don't want to get
Never mind. Okay.
into that. Yeah.
It is not contingency plus?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Okay, anybody else? I will add that this administration has been most favorable to American Indians, more than any other administration. They settled the Cabell case, Keefseville case, Navajo case, Osage case, not like the other administrations. They were not very friendly to our Indian people when we're talking about all this litigation. So if this is something that we need to get in quick with this administration, then maybe this is a good deal, Todd.
Is it important to our litigation strategy to get this filed before the end of this administration?
Sure. Okay, we got a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay. Would anybody mind if we switch those last two items and save the, and go ahead and do that confirmation with our election, then move the election last? Is that okay? Got a motion? Second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. This is a resolution that confirmed the nomination of Pam Sellers as Cherokee Nation Election Board Commissioner. In the beginning, we always, if you're from Cherokee County, we always get hammered about putting Cherokee County people on these boards and commissions and so forth. But I yielded to Councilor Austin for this position, and for 2 or 3 months, and I think his person decided at the end they decided not to. So I had somebody in mind at that time, and it was Pam Sellers. She's a person, former school teacher, a person of character at the highest level. I've known her family for a long time, and she'll be dedicated to the cause there. So I just throw that out there.
I second that.
That wasn't a motion, but I'll just tell you a little bit. Okay?
I'd like to be added as a sponsor. please.
Okay, anybody want to make the motion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion? Second? Okay, got a discussion? She's here if you want to ask a question. Miss Pam, you want to come up to the front here? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Pam Sellers, and I've been married to John Sellers for 38 years. I taught at Briggs School for 31 years. Never missed a day of work the whole time that I taught. I taught second grade, and I was very involved in the community, very involved right now. And the reason why I want to be on the election commission is because I want to serve the Cherokee people and keep involved in the communities.
Okay. Okay, any questions? Yes,
I
Councilor
just have a
Gordon.
comment.
Okay,
I've known Pam for a long time. She's a lady of integrity. She's a hard worker. She doesn't live in my district, but I'm supporting her.
okay, anybody else? Okay, you have a motion, you have a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed?
Thank you.
Congratulations. Okay. Dropping down to item number 5, Councilor Vasquez.
Yes. This is an act amending LA 04-14, revising Title 26 elections of the Cherokee Nation Code annotated. And I'll put this in the form of a motion.
Get a motion? Second? Okay. We'll get in discussion here. Okay, we've had this in front of us for some time as well. As a matter of fact, it went through committee, took it to the council, and, we still had, some council members had a question or two about the definition of term, and so if anybody has a comment or question right now, this is the time to do it. Council Day.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've passed out some information to the council. And sorry to get it to you late, but I didn't know how to get it on email. So, and I don't have a printer at the house to fax it to you. So, it's here today, and it's some of the same material that I emailed last week that you guys might look at to come to your decision on what term means. So it's not something brand new, but it is in print form finally. And on the front page, it's kind of a rundown of how the Constitutional Convention was operated. People, and Chief Byrd was chief at that time, and he sent out envoys to the various communities and at-large communities to take hearings and public hearings and comments. And then eventually the delegation did meet at Delacroix. And these are some of the folks who were there. And on the back page, it's marked C-1 is an opinion from Diana Hammonds. And I think the couple of little squiggly areas that I've marked are unique, and they may be able to help you come to your decision. I think I've already come to mine, as you probably know. And I'm not telling you how to vote. You do what you think, but I'm just pointing out some areas here that we haven't been shown before. And I think there was an extra copy, Todd, over here for you.
Okay, thank you.
and I'm just presenting that, and I'm letting y'all do what you want to. I'm not gonna say another word about it. Thank you.
Well, appreciate that, Counselor Lay. Anybody else?
I will ask that this be placed in the minutes
Okay,
for next month's book
okay,
in total.
okay. Yes.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, Attorney General.
Thank you very much for allowing me to address the committee. I know that this is an important vote, and I know we've discussed this, time and again, and that you've heard from certain constituents, and I applaud the activity of the Cherokee people to be involved in the political process. It's the right thing to do. I believe that this is a grand example of how the system works. Now, as you know, I emailed each of you to recommend additional language that would be added to this definition, and that definition, that purpose or that language was for the purpose of addressing what some of the concerns that the framers had in when discussing this provision of the Constitution, and basically what it would mean or what would happen if someone attempted to game the system or trick the system, whereas they would resign just beforehand or get impeached and still get elected. Well, this language closes that loophole. And in the email, and I would recommend that this be adopted into the definition, the following additional language, which would read, provided that if an office holder is impeached, resigns, or leaves office on their own accord, their term shall be considered a fully completed term per the purposes of this act. This would close that loophole that the delegates of the Constitution were concerned about, someone trying to manipulate the system. Well, if you manipulate the system on your own accord, it should be counted as a full term. And the definition of term is important, and it is a duty of this legislative body to make that definition. You shouldn't abrogate it to another branch of government. This is your responsibility. Now, people, the plain rate, the reading of the Constitution, I believe, is clear. 5 times when it lists when it states what a term of office is, it says 4 years, a 4-year term. It says that 5 different times in the Constitution. What needs to be clarified is partial terms. Well, if a term is 4 years, it'd be unconstitutional to hold someone to a lesser period of time than 4 years. And this definition makes that clear. I've been the attorney for the Tribal Council for 12 years. I've had the privilege of being the Attorney General for almost 4. In my opinion, but I don't wear a black robe, but in my opinion, this is constitutional. This is clearly constitutional. People will disagree, and they're entitled to their opinion, and I respect their opinion. But whoever files in 2017 or 2019, I'm sure there will be, if it stays the course as previous elections, there will be a challenge. The Election Commission then will make a determination based on the law. And if someone is disgruntled with that decision, it will be taken to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court will make the ultimate decision on the interpretation of term. But it is the duty of this legislative body to define it and not abrogate that right to another branch of government or to remain silent. So I would recommend that this language passed with the additional sentence that's been added. It complies with the Constitution clearly, and I believe that it complies with the framers' intent of the Constitution. And I would entertain any questions that anyone may have.
Counselor
Yes,
Vasquez.
first I have a point of order, and it's my failure to say when I made the motion to include the statements that AG just presented. So then I want to make that part of this original motion.
I accept that.
Okay. Yes, Counselor Thornton.
I've got a question.
Yes, sir.
I say up front that this coming election that I was running, okay, we have a tie. So that carries over and it's filed in court. It's filed down here at the election and then it goes to court. So I say it takes a month to do that. Turn around, well, I find a loophole in it somewhere and I file another bill down here in the election commission and take it to court. So let's say it goes by 2 months. So the term's already in, so we have a re-election and one of us is elected. Well, they're just getting 10 months out of that 1 year. So they get 3 years, 10 months. Will they get to run again?
That'd be a
Full
possibility.
term.
There would
Yes.
that would be a possibility, but the ultimate arbiter of that would be the Supreme Court. Okay? Yeah, that's, what we cannot guard against every possible situation or hypothetical. But what the council can do and should do is set a definition to, by which the Cherokee people can understand, and the election commission can understand, and ultimately the court can consider. I'm not going to answer, or I can't answer, what may or may not happen, who may file, or what scenario would occur, and how the Supreme Court would rule. That is the duty of as I said, the people in the black robes.
Well, if it's, let's say if it's 11 months, 28 days, or 29 days, that still isn't a term, right?
You're right, but would that be considered a term? I believe that would be a decision that the court would make.
And we don't have any way to put any any laws in here to cover that.
Well, I don't think you could spend here forever and not cover the factual scenario on every case, or again of what may happen. I don't know what may happen, but I do know.
That possibly happens.
Right. And what I do know is that this definition comports with the Constitution. It defines what a 4-year term, that a term is 4 years. That is within the 4 corners of the document. And it also addresses partial and unexpired terms, which is not in the Constitution, but needs to be defined.
And this language is consistent with the Constitution, which is the duty of the tribal council to do this. And having this language gives the definition that's consistent with the Constitution, and gives our Supreme Court and our court the definitions for them to review if a case is filed.
And all this is adding is full. 4 full years makes a term, right?
Yeah, each term is full 4 years, but then an expired or partial year is not part of the 2 4-year terms. And that's exactly what this is.
Okay.
Counselor Watkins.
Explain the partial term to me again.
Partial term is not a complete term. I mean, it's the same. It's the same. It's a wording of unexpired.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, here's-
It can be if someone it resigns, or maybe is removed, or they're no longer in that office. That's a partial term for someone else too.
Here's where I'm getting at with this is, the courts can make their own decision on if it's a partial term or not, or someone can run and that's counted or not. Most likely, 90% of the time, since our terms are staggered, you're going to have people that's going to have 2 years left on the term. I mean, 95% of the time. not someone passes away or they resign or whatever, then there could be more than 2 years that the person serves. You know, I know the big thing that I'm hearing is they're afraid, you know, Chief Baker's going to run for chief again, and so everyone's trying to put a stop to that because his first term is 3 years and 10 months or whenever all that litigation got resolved. Why can't we define what a partial term is on time length? Like, why can't we say 50% or 2 years, or like, why can't we put a number on that? That way we're not relying on a judge to make that decision.
Because, in my opinion, that would be unconstitutional. And let me explain why. You can't go less than 4 years. The Constitution is very clear. A term is 4 years. It states that in Article 6, Section 3.
A partial term is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, Frankie, you filled in for Joe Crittenden, right? And was it about 2 years?
A little less than that.
A little less than 2 years. And I'm talking about the partial term, not
Right.
the full term.
Again, yeah, you can't go less than. You know, we have, well, for example, there are individuals on this body who had the, when we introduced staggered terms, we went 4 years, 6 years. Now, I was the attorney for the tribal council, and the reason that was put that way was that we knew we couldn't go less than 4 years, because the Constitution said it was 4 years. So we did a one-time law that was challenged in court and was held to be constitution, that, you know, that by lot, it was decided which districts would be 6 years and which would be 4 years. If we were to pass a law that says, well, if you get past 50% of the term, well, that's a full term, well, you're going less than 4 years, and that would be unconstitutional. And so that's why it needs to be defined as that a 4-year term is a 4-year term.
We've already went past it. I mean, we've already set the course for staggered terms. We've
Right.
already passed that. So now we're moving forward. I think we can define it now where it wouldn't be where it would not be unconstitutional.
Well, by saying that if you serve
50%, say you serve 50% or 2 years.
of a 4-year term, that would count as a full term?
That it would not count as a full term.
Well, what if you served less than 50% of a full term? Would that count as a term?
It'd be 50% or
Yeah,
less.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And you know, and with all due respect, in my opinion, that would be an unconstitutional act.
It would be unconstitutional. I'm not an attorney, but it makes sense that we're a legislative body. We make our rules.
Right. But you have, but the caveat is that the rules you make must be constitutional.
Sure.
And the framers of this Constitution wrestled with exactly the issue you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, and I would refer to Volume 5, page 49 of the Cherokee Nation Constitutional Convention. The debate was exactly what you're talking about. Well, what if someone serves less or more or less of a term? They came up with a solution, and that solution was defined as elected term, okay, by an elected term. And the delegate, a good friend of mine who led this discussion, Mr. John Keene, addressed that, and that would be on page 49, line 21, when he stated, when talking about the instance where someone filled in or didn't complete a full term. He said, now if I'm removed or resign, someone else will take my place, but he will not be filling the elected term. I can then refile for the next elected term because I didn't fill the previous ... I wasn't there for the full elected term, on page 50, the last term. So elected term, I would submit, would cover that. Now, that's an important statement if we're going to talk about the intent of the Constitution, because, and you mentioned the article about the principal chief, and let's, go exactly what was stated on the four corners of the document, and that would be Article 7, Section 1. And the pertinent part is the principal chief shall hold office for a term of 4 years. No person having been elected, again, Mr. King talking about what is an elected term, to file for office of principal chief in 2 consecutive elections shall be eligible to file for the office of principal chief in the election, and here's the important part, next following his or her second term of office. Okay, so they put that term, they wanted to ensure that there was that a candidate got 2 full elected terms. And they defined, the delegates, the Constitution and the framers defined what the term is, which is 4 years. So therefore, they wanted to make sure that an office holder got 2 full terms. And that is what this definition states, and it's in accordance with the plain reading of the Constitution and the intent of the framers.
Well, I don't think it's constitutional that someone serves 80% of a term and they don't count as a term.
Well, that would be an ultimate, like I said, the ultimate arbiter of that would be the Supreme Court.
Exactly. We're putting this decision into the hands of our court system when we have the ability to make that call that would stand up in the Supreme Courts based off legislation that we made. So, I don't know, those are my thoughts. Hey, Todd, appreciate you educating us on all that, but I think we need to define a partial term. That's all I have. Thank you, Chair.
Good. Anybody else? Counselor Buzzer.
Yes, and I still don't support the language that you put in there, Todd, but I just think that what I've heard, what Councilor Thornton said a while ago made some sense to me about serving 3 years and 10 months and not count as a term. I think when the framers of this Constitution were sitting up there, I wasn't there, but there were several in here that were, they didn't define that term at that time because I don't think there was a good definition for it. Now, the other parts of the Constitution, it says full 4 years, I understand that, but they left that term definition out. They left it out for a reason, I think. Partial term, Councilor Walkenstick was talking about. You know, it seems to me as this tribal council sits here, we don't really have a say in this. So if we don't have a say in it, just leave it like it is. You know, if it's gonna go and the Supreme Court's gonna make that ruling, you know, what good is this to even discuss it? I think the framers of the Constitution thought about that, and I think some people sitting in here can attest to that, because they knew this was gonna come up, and I think if it stays like this, and if we change it, I think we're gonna see these problems develop on down the line, maybe next year, 10 years from now, or 20 years from now. And it's going to cause a lot of tie-ups in our courts, and then people are not going to know what's going on with the election commission or the election itself. So I'm still not in favor of what you wrote there, Mr. Attorney General. I think you did a good job on trying to explain it, but I don't think it's satisfied me enough to support this language you put in there.
I respect your opinion.
So I thank you for doing it, but I just don't think I could still support it the way it is. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Anybody else? Yes. Counselor England.
Mr. Speaker. And Todd, I always respect your decisions and stuff like that also, you know, I really do.
Thank you.
But I just don't agree with putting the word full in there. And I just don't believe that the 99 convention, they would have put full in there because they talked about it several, and the transcripts show that, so. But I appreciate your effort and everything, but I too, I'm not gonna take that right away from our Cherokee citizens and change that, put full in there. That's all I have.
Okay. Anybody else? Yes. Counselor Critton.
I just want to commend this panel, because I know you work hard for the Cherokee people every day, just like he did on this. This is one of those head scratchers for all of us, I'm sure. This issue, I knew stuff like this would come around. But I want you to know how much I respect you. Talking to me here, really had a hard time. I had good people, good friends that I respect on both sides of this thing. And that makes sitting here, as everybody knows, a difficult thing. It makes it difficult, but I did my homework with my district. I'm talking my district. I visited with a whole lot of folks. Didn't visit with every one of them. Had a whole lot of people contact me, and so I guess what I'm wanting to say is, I want you to know how much I respect you. I came to a decision based on, I campaigned to be those folks' voice the best I could. So I feel confident with the vote we're about to make, but I just wanted to tell you how much I appreciate you all every day. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Yes, Councilor Austin.
When I was considering this, before we ever had initial meetings on this, but reading through it, I totally agreed with David, walking stick, that, what do you mean? 3 years, 10 months, that's a term. I mean, but when I read the Constitution, I didn't take an oath to defend what I feel. I took an oath to defend the Constitution. When I read the Constitution, every time it defines term, not every single time, but many, many times when it uses the word term, it includes 4 years right beside the word term. I can't take that to mean term means anything but 4 years. Anything less than 4 years is not a term, per what I read in this Constitution. And that's what I read, and I looked at it, and I don't care what I feel, the Constitution tells me 4 years. And so I came to the conclusion that term is a 4-year period of time per the Constitution. All the pre-constitutional documentation it ended up here. This is what was decided on as the actual wording of the Constitution. This is what we're defending. And it says 4 years a whole bunch of times when it uses the word term. And that's the reason why I'm adamantly supporting that we define this. If we don't define it, we are elected by our constituents to be the legislative body of the Cherokee people. That means we make the laws. The Election Commission does not make laws. But if we don't clarify this, we've got an election coming up in a little over a year where we will have people go in and file to run for office without a clear law mandating the actions of the Election Commission. The Election Commission is going to have to make a decision. Is this person eligible or not? If they make a decision this person is eligible, somebody's going to sue. If they make a decision this person's not eligible, somebody's going to sue. If it's going to end up in court, I would just soon it end up in court based on our actions and not based on the actions of the Election Commission. I rest.
Very well stated. Yes, Councilor Taylor?
When we were working on this in its entirety, starting several months back, I was very confident that our mission was to firm up the laws consistent with the Constitution. And I'm sticking on this full here because I don't read that in the Constitution. I read 4 years, parentheses, number 4. And that's one thing that I'm sticking on. And then I would like some clarification. The Constitution also says being elected in 2 previous elections. So could I have some clarification on term? I mean, term is defined as 4 years. But then there's this other part about having been elected in 2 prior elections, that I'm having trouble reconciling those.
Very, very astute question. And there's 2 separate answers.
Mr. Chairman, point of order. I don't know, Todd, forgive me, I'm a little uneasy with you giving the legislative body advice if you're not willing to give a legal opinion on this matter. And I want that stated, and I want that in the record. Thank you.
Counselor Taylor, did you ask for his, or did you ask for his input on this?
I'm asking you to answer a question if a question
Counselor
is
Taylor,
posed
I'm
to
asking
me.
you, did you ask for his?
Did I ask for Todd's?
Yes.
I asked him to help me understand reconciling full 4-year term
Okay.
with being elected in 2 previous elections.
Okay.
Some terminology from the Constitution.
I was making clear that, okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Okay. And Mr. Lay, point well taken. If an opinion is asked of me on this issue, I'll be happy to give one. But, as Councilman Austin believes, said, this is the role that the legislature makes.
Well, I take issue with that. I mean, the legislative body does not make the Constitution. It's already made.
Your job is to make the laws. And
Hold on just a second. And the legislative body cannot change the Constitution.
You're absolutely correct.
Am I correct?
You're absolutely correct.
And that's where I'm standing.
Okay.
That's all I got to say.
All right.
Okay. Let's finish this question here.
Yes. There's two answers, okay. As to the term, okay, again, you look to the 4 corners of the document. And this is something that is more legalese. You only go into legislative history, or you only go into the intent of framers when a document is not clear on its face, when it's not clear within the 4 corners, okay? That's the only time that you would go back and say, okay, well, what was it that they were meaning to say? As to term, I don't think there's any question as to what it is unambiguous. 4 years is 4 years, okay? Now, there may be an interpretation of what the day or what the word year means, okay? And again, we can get, to trying to address every possible hypothetical. But we don't need to do that here. What we need to do is stay consistent with the Constitution, is what is a term? 4 years. It tells us that again and again, all right? Now, when you said you wanted clarification as to the elected terms, and again, I would say that's what when they were considering this whole concept, initially, they had the debate as to was a partial term or not, or what really counted. That's why, and I read you the testimony, or not the testimony, but the transcript of what they were talking about back in 1999. Is that in order they took a break, they took a pause, and then they came back with this language, and what they wanted. Or what, in my opinion, I think it's very clear. But the words speak for themselves. 2 elected terms before you have to sit out. Okay? And that's what this definition says. We add in the loophole about someone trying to game the system. But, and I couldn't have put it any clearer than what Councilor Austin says, there's going to be bodies interpreting this language. And it would be a disservice to the legislative branch if you didn't put your interpretation on it, your words on it. The Election Commission will have to rule whether someone is eligible for office or not. It behooves this office, and it was in your duty to define what that is, to set the parameters to make that decision. Now, that decision, undoubtedly, in my opinion, will go to the ultimate arbiter of what is constitutional or not. That is the Cherokee Nation Supreme Court. And I wouldn't guess to what they would rule, but I know what my opinion is, and that this language is constitutional, that it is the duty of the legislative branch to put that definition, to put a definition forward. And any definition that is less than 4 years, in my opinion, would be unconstitutional.
Counselor Taylor, does that answer your question?
It does. I'm still sticking on the addition of full in there because the Constitution does not say that. And so another question that I have is this vote that we're getting ready to take, yay or nay, does or undoes everything else that we changed in the election law?
No.
No.
We're voting on this thing.
This thing. Also, as the AG said, when it says the elected 2 terms, then that references what a term is defined in the Constitution, which is 4 years. That doesn't count when they're elected to serve a partial term or a partial election to fill out. And this is the current Constitution, right?
That is correct.
And there's a section 13 talks about specific when in the case of removal, death, resignation, or disability of any council member or such seat filled, it talks about the procedure for that. And it doesn't reference the full term or the term. If a minority of the 4-year term remains, then that just means something else. And so when you reference that, the Constitution talks about a term which is 4 years, and it doesn't reference when there's a removal and there's a partial serving of an elected official before they run for two full
Okay.
terms.
Anybody else? Harvey, I'm going to give you something to say. You look like my professor over there, so.
I'm going to say on behalf of the Election Commission that we appreciate Councilor Austin's comments. And I think we, the commission, would certainly appreciate some assistance from the council in helping us define term. The commission wants to follow the Constitution and they want to follow the law. And any help we can get from the council on telling us what they think the law is, what they want it to be, we certainly appreciate it. It helps us when we get to court to substantiate our position.
Okay. All right. Counselor Walkenstick, you going back to law school or what?
I need to. This is interesting. I would, I don't know, is there, where in this was it talk about the two terms for a council member or chief in this right here? What page is it on? I was trying to find it, I couldn't find it.
In the act itself?
It's in the act itself. So it's
I don't know, I don't know exactly the act itself as to where it's 2 terms and maybe the qualifications of office, but what the pertinent law is Article 7, Section 1 of the Cherokee Nation Constitution and Article 6, Section 3 of the Cherokee Nation Constitution.
What about the election code here? What is there anything in there about the term limits here in the election code right here?
I can't put my finger on it right now. I don't know if it is in there. I don't have an encyclopedia, but it has to purport with the Constitution.
Yeah. Well, where I was getting at with this is I was wanting to make a friendly amendment to this to define partial term as any term that is less than 2 years of an elected term, to define that, and then wherever it states where a council member can serve 2 elected terms, say something in the language of excluding a partial term.
I believe that's what that's what we've attempted to do in this amendment right here, or with this definition of term.
I think it's too broad. I just think there's too much.
And again, if we were to say that a term of 50% or less, is a complete term, you're contrary to the plain reading of the Constitution. The plain reading of it. Nowhere in the Constitution does it even give a hint that a term can be less than 4 years.
Order.
Yes.
I
Counselor?
don't accept that friendly, and we've had plenty of time. That could have been brought up in meetings before today.
Well,
If you were putting that in the form of a friendly, were you?
yeah,
I
I'm
don't accept it.
maybe putting a motion here in a second. So, I don't know, I'm trying to look out for Harvey and these guys. I mean, I don't want, like I said, next summer come up, election comes, and people's bombarding us, and there's lawsuits going all over the place because it's not clear. It's not black and white.
Counselor, at the current time, there is nothing in the election code prior to this amendment you're working on now that defines term or mentions term. It's in the Constitution, but there's nothing in the election that defines term.
I think you
But
answered your
there is
question.
now, though, in the red, where
Yes.
the double.
In this amendment you're considering, there is.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's in the section of definitions in the election code,
I can't do that. You need
which
to.
needs to be addressed. and
It's
included in
under,
the election code.
Page 4 of the handout, it's paragraph EE of section 31A is the new red addition that we're talking about. And it's been, and as modified by the language that the Attorney General has proposed.
Yeah. Yeah, it's in there now with the amendments that our AG made with as terms.
That's the only place that's in the election code.
That's right.
And it's, at the present time, until you pass this amendment, there's nothing about definition of term in there.
Okay.
And that's why we would appreciate some assistance from the council, not trying to tell the council what to do or which one to adopt. That's the legislative function that would help us if we had the definition.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know, like a partial term is I'm still stuck on putting a partial term in this. Like I said, I think it would be clear, precise. There'd be no arguments, and like I said, every council member that's on a staggered term that decides, or they fill in a vacated elected term for like 2 years, it's not going to be 3 years. It's going to be 2 years and less, because whenever you file for chief or whatever, you're still going to have that much time left on that staggered term to fill out.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to call for the question.
Okay.
I have, and I wasn't on the council at that time, but some of the council members may have been, but I remember this committee or the council had a policy about partial terms. I don't know if anybody remembers that or not, but I wasn't on the council when that was redone, but I think Councilor Fishinghawk had brought that back up. And I think they said, if I remember right, it's something about if you had less than 2 years to serve, that didn't count as a term. If you had over, then it went to the election of the people at that time. I don't know if anybody remembers that being a policy of this committee or the council or what, but I remember hearing them talk about that. It was already written up.
Oh, really?
I don't recall it, thank you. Yes. Counselor Austin.
There's a conflict in stating concern for the Constitution, but then wanting to shorten the change the meaning within the Constitution. I don't want to change the Constitution. It says what it says. Anything we do regarding, it already says a term is 4 years. So anything less than a term, 4 years is not a term. It's in there. So if we define 2 years and a month as a term, what you've done is you've denied a person the ability to serve 2 full terms, which the Constitution says you have the right to do, to run for 2 full terms. If the Vice President of the United States ascends to the presidency, they have the right to serve, to run 2 more times. If the Lieutenant Governor ascends the office of Governor for any reason, they have the right to run 2 more terms. That's a standard in elective politics. We're not here to change. This isn't about changing the Constitution. It's about reaffirming the Constitution.
Yes. Counselor Thornton?
Yes. Councilor Buzzard, I think that pertained to, the council made this decision because it was saying if you had 2 years or less to serve, then the council voted to who would fill that term.
Okay.
And if it was like 3 years or over 2 years, then there would be a special election to fill that term. It didn't have anything to do with a 4-year term.
Okay. Okay.
I think that was what Councilor Counselor
Less than 2
Collins was
years.
getting at, while it was on partial term, what he was trying to explain.
Well, if we could do that, but we can't change a 4-year term.
Yeah.
I guess what I was getting at, there's already some language that's written up, that's what Councilor Walking-Stick was talking about.
Yeah. But what he's talking about, he's wanting to make a 2-year term, a 4-year term.
No, I'm not
Is
saying that.
exactly what he's trying to say.
No, I'm not
It'll
saying
serve as a term.
I'm not saying that, not at all.
Well, that's what I'm getting.
No, I'm sorry, it's miscommunication. I'm looking out for Councilman Hargis, Chief Byrd. They got elections coming up. It's not fair. I don't believe that they served a term by filling in a 2-year term. I don't believe that. That should not count as a term. What I'm saying is we need to define what a partial term is, and whatever language it says, 2 elected terms excluding a partial term, which would be in their situations.
Then you would be in favor of the amendment as written.
That's what this amendment actually says.
Right.
You know, Counselor
You would be in favor of the
Walken-Stick,
amendment that is.
I'm
as written.
okay with this and let the chips fall where they may. You know, I don't mind going with this, and if the court says yes, you can, Byrd, if you don't, we'll just go with it. That's the way that's the way democracy works. If you follow the Supreme Court of the United States, most of the time their vote is 5-4. Now it's usually 4-4 because one is gone. Very seldom are we unanimous in these decisions. That's why you have 3 branches of government. You just do the best you can. We pass legislation, and I've not known of the Cherokee election where we didn't have a lawsuit. If somebody says we did, then hold up your hand, because it's kind of like we learned a little bit from the United States, or they learned from us. So, you know, we've really gone through this. I want to do a roll call vote, and let's get this thing moving.
Chief, what I don't want to happen is somebody comes in on a 3.5-year term, and the courts rule in favor of them to go serve another term.
Well, you can't tell the Supreme Court what to do,
I
Counselor
understand
Walken-Stick. I mean, when you get on your robe, you're Chief Justice, you can pretty much tell people what to do.
Maybe micromanaging this, but I'm just saying,
Well, we'll give you a chance to go talk to the Supreme Court when you get time. But all right, Counselor Warner.
Yes, sir. You know, I really appreciate everybody that's been a part of this and everything that's taken place, and I haven't had a large concern from my constituents. Only a couple that are from there but don't live there anymore. In this day and age, we all know that it's a one-step further society. I'm going to take things one step further, and in the court system, as Chief Byrd just stated, I don't know of an election where we haven't had a problem. We don't know what's going to, I mean, you'd had to been an oracle in '99 to foresee the things that went on, you know, from that point on. You'd have to be an oracle sitting here today to know what's coming down the road. I know what the Constitution says to me, and I know what my right is as a citizen of the Cherokee Nation. And that's the fact that I can go down there and I can vote for the individual that I feel like has the best opportunity to serve me the best. I can also, as a member of the Cherokee Nation, I can contest any candidate that may be up for candidacy. And then we can see fit that they can see fit if that person is deemed a candidate. And like you said, there is a process. Litigation, it's going to be there.
Yeah.
It's going to be there. It's not going anywhere. I know from this day forward, I've got things to do in my district and within the Cherokee Nation, just as all of you guys do. And I need my citizens to get up, and we're going to rise together and lead together. And whether or not what we do today, I mean, that's yet to be seen. But I know each and every one of us, we've got housing rehab, we've got housing, we've got health care, we've got things to do. And I'm willing, you know, I've made up my mind, and I know several others have too. And, you know, and I've been sitting there 60-40, 50-50, 70-30, you know, back and forth. And I just really appreciate everyone. And I know that everybody realizes that when we leave here today, that phone's not going to quit ringing. Those emails aren't going to quit coming in. And, you know, we haven't taken anybody's right to be a Cherokee Nation citizen in what we're doing or what we may do. And yet, it's still got one more peg to go, you know? So, thank you.
Okay. All right, Shelley, roll call vote.
Wanda Hatfield?
Point of clarification.
Okay.
Can what we're voting on be read for the record right now?
Okay, yes is to support the act that's present, was it item which one, 5?
It's 5,
Okay, item number 5.
along with the AG statement.
Okay, this is an act amending legislation -4-14 revising Title 26 Elections of Cherokee Nation Code annotated.
There's one more change that the election commission
Well,
had.
we need to get
But we need to do this one
this
first
motion
and
first.
then the other
Yes,
one.
yeah.
Okay.
We're voting just on this, not the full changes,
Yes,
correct?
yes. Okay,
This this is by division for the new blued out
Yes, sir.
sheet. Okay, thank you, sir.
okay.
And a vote of yes is in support.
It's to include that, right.
Point of order. We're voting on the entire act with this blue substituted for the red on page 4. Be made correct. Because that was your motion to approve.
Yes.
That's the way I read it on number 5.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Shelley?
Wanda Hatfield?
Nay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Rex Jordan?
Yes.
Dick Lay?
No?
Curtis Snell?
Yes.
Denise Taylor?
No.
David Thornton?
Yes.
Victoria Vasquez?
Yes.
David Walkingston?
Yes.
Brian Warner?
Yes.
Bill Anglin?
No.
Keith Austin?
Yes.
Jack Baker?
No.
Arlie Buzzard?
No.
Joe Byrd?
Yes.
Sean Crittenden?
No.
Don Garvin? Frankie Hargis?
I abstain.
Nine yes, 6 nay, and 1 abstention.
Okay. Okay. Thank you guys for the time and effort you put into this. Now we'll move back to reports.
Before we leave that, there was one, the commission staff reviewed the law as it was approved at the last rules, and there was one, I think, either scrivener's error or technical exception that was left out of it. At page in the definition of in-kind contributions, it says that the report shall include the name of the donor, his or her address, employer, occupation, and fair market value. Under the reporting requirements that you amended previously, you eliminated from cash contributions and other contributions the requirement that the employer be, and required only that the occupation be listed. And that didn't come out of this section G, and to be consistent, you may want to do that through a friendly amendment or however you can do it.
If you look in your folder here, page 19, on the revised code, section G, and it says employer right there in section G, right above section 42. It's in 43, but it's
In-kind contribution?
yeah, under in-kind contribution, and to be consistent with all the others, that word employer needs to be deleted. Correct? Pardon? That's what you...
Yes, employer and should be a
Yeah,
deleted.
employer and.
Just delete those two words?
Yes.
I think I need to go to law school, but you guys present it.
If a motion is made to that effect and a unanimous consent be requested, that should be able to take care of that.
Councilor Vasquez. So moved. Second, discussion on the two words that we have changed here. Okay, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay. Is that it? Any more changes? Okay. Moving back up to reports here, we've got Marshall, Mr. Shannon Buell.
Good afternoon. Besides the written report that I submitted, one thing I want to add is this Saturday night at 7 p.m. at the BOK Center, one of our marshals will be fighting against a firefighter in the smoke and guns benefit fight. It's a benefit where it's not me. How's that? Okay. Where it's a police officer and a firefighter, and they fight, and the proceeds go to benefit different organizations. So just want to put that out. The officer's name is Preston Ossowy. So he's been training pretty much nonstop for about the past 6 months to get ready for this fight. So hopefully everything works out and everybody's okay at that event. Other than that, are there any questions on my report?
Any comments or questions for Marshall? Yes, Councilor Taylor.
I have one. It says that 61 violent criminals were arrested. Is that this month alone?
Yeah, what it was if you've seen in the paper where we had the U.S. Marshals from the Eastern District come in and cross-deputize us, it was for an actual operation called Red Fern, where we went out and targeted. The U.S. Marshal had a list of the worst in Cherokee, Adair, Sequoia County, and we went out with them, and so that was a huge arrest that we did that month, so yes.
You guys were busy.
We were very busy.
That's all I have.
This guy fighting in BOK, he's fought before though, hasn't he?
He has. He fought David Cummingdeer last year, so it was actually a boxing match that he did last year. My officer's an MMA fighter, so this year he'll actually be able to fight in his sport, that's MMA. So.
Yeah. Has he won most of his matches?
This will be the second one that he's fought, so yes, he's won all the matches that he's ever fought. Yeah, he goes into it undefeated. He's good.
Okay. All right. Well, good. Yeah, Councilor Critton.
Had a missing child at Stillwell here a while back, and I guarantee you this guy, he'll answer his phone, and appreciate you.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
And the child was found, and
good.
Appreciate that.
Well, thank you very much.
They do a good job. We're very fortunate to have these trained, law enforcement on our side.
Thank you.
Okay, good report. Okay, Mr. AG, you want to do this again?
You guys are probably tired of seeing me up here. The Attorney General's office, as you know, has been busy on legislative acts and preparing for our trust litigation of an item of particular importance to the Cherokee people. The Keep Siegel settlement was affirmed by the district court judge in Washington, D.C. There will be another round of payments due to the successful plaintiffs. There will be, or claimants, and there will be also an opportunity for I want to say it's inappropriate to call it a small pot of money, but it is a small pot compared to the other pot. There are going to be some $37 million in what we call cypre money that the court will distribute to grant applications. The Cherokee Nation is helping develop is developing an application for a portion of that cypre money. And also we will be working on a more comprehensive program to work with the some $200 million that will be administered by the Board of Trustees that have been approved in the settlement. One thing that you may be getting inquiries on is that there is no opportunity for new claimants. No one new can apply for Keep Siegel funds. So if you get that and they have a question on it, you can direct them to my office. Other than that, we remain busy and vigilant at the Attorney General's office, and I would yield any questions.
Okay. Anybody? Okay. Appreciate your report. You want to cover Gwen? Because we have her report.
I'll be happy to try to substitute for Ms. Terrapin.
We have the report before us.
The report is probably couldn't even answer any questions because that's an independent office.
Sure. Okay. You got any questions? So we're good. Thank you. Okay. Election Commission, who we have here? Brooke, is that you? Okay.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here with you all. I know you're probably tired of hearing about the Election Commission right now, so I believe you all have my report, and if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Actually, it's good to see a different face up there.
Probably like a nicer smile, maybe?
Yes. Okay, any questions? You have the report.
You're doing good.
Okay, you're doing good. Keep up the good. I hope we helped you out a little bit today.
Sure did.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Sharon Swepston? God, you can always count on Sharon to be here. And I finally got my hunting and fishing license. I might have been the last one.
I don't think so.
It is, yeah.
We're still getting calls, so.
Okay.
Still doing hunting and fishing license. You do have my report. If you have any questions on it, I'll try to address those.
Okay. Anybody? Counselor Buzzer?
Now we look good.
Okay. Counselor Austin? We good? Good report. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
They wore us out. Okay, self-governance, Karen Ketcher. We're going to put her up first again next time. She's 2 in a row she's missed. Okay, Gaming Commission, Jamie Hummingbird. Give us some good news.
Some good news. Still making money. How's that?
There you go.
We're still protecting the money.
There you go.
In addition to the report, just one small item to update the council on, the committee on. Sometime back, there was the issue brought up about the possible change in the IRS reporting amounts going down from $1,200 down to $600. The IRS has not officially withdrawn that idea from the table, but the strong indicators out there in the industry are that they will be not considering putting that forward for an actual amendment to the IRS rules.
Good.
Just to refresh, that $1,200 is the reporting amount that we have to, or that has been set for any individual winning event to be reported to the IRS for tax purposes. They were considering reducing that level down to from $1,200 to $600, which would have meant a considerable increase in the amount of activity, not just at tribal casinos, but at all gaming facilities across the U.S. I don't think the IRS necessarily understood what they were asking for when they were putting that out there for public input, but based on that public input, I believe they got a clear indication that what they were thinking about doing was not a good idea, and have since backed away from it. So we do applaud the IRS for listening to the industry. But with that, take any questions.
Good. Good report, Jay. Anybody? Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Dr. Nason Morton. Good afternoon. Afternoon.
Hello.
What I was trying to do last month was create a new report on top of the report that I've been doing. The report that we started out with starts with the day the department says I need someone to the day we put them in a chair. I'm going to keep doing that report because it helps with quality assurance to make sure that each step I'm tracking. But I started looking and see if I could find something that I could measure Cherokee Nation against, kind of nationally. The goal ultimately is always to measure our performance against ourselves. Always try to do better regardless of looking at a third party. But I was trying to look and see how other people measure their time to fill. I found one, and I tried something interesting. I tried to send a link so everyone could look at the whole thing. I think I'll go ahead and send you a PDF of the sheets I looked at, but I thought, well, the link I sent you has all the reports, all the data underneath, and if they were referenced in a national newspaper or magazine. How I found them is I found them as a reference in a Wall Street Journal. So I started tracking them back from there, and I found the report. It's kind of interesting, but I never know what to give, so I just gave the link so you can look. But I'm going to go ahead and follow up with the charts that I was using. So basically, I tried to find nationally a government or health services around our size, how long it normally takes. And this is a good indicator that I'm going to start with to measure against. And basically, it's called DHI hiring indicators. Basically, they take government report and they calculate from the time you need a position filled to the time that you make an offer and that offer is accepted for employment. So basically, we've created a new report they're going to start running, so now there's going to be two different ones, because the second report also uses a definition of business days. Right now, I use calendar days. So it counts against us holidays, Sundays, Saturdays, even though we're not open. So I just went straight, simple calendar days. But if I want to measure myself against a national average, I try to use the same criteria they use. And so basically they're doing Monday through Saturday, exclude major holidays. So my second report runs along those same criteria. And also I'm going to use the date that we put it in our system, say, hey, I need this position, and I'm going to end it on the date we have an offer, a conditional offer and acceptance. So basically, we say, hey, yes, I want to offer you the job. By the way, I still need a couple things from you. I need you to drug test. I need you to come to orientation. I want to count that day as your last day. Basically, on the last page of the report, I kind of ran some numbers to kind of show, well, what's the difference? At the first of the year, the numbers are always better than later in the year. because the jobs that are easiest to fill, naturally, we get them open and closed fast. So using my regular method, I'm calculating it took on average for the first 3 months, October 1 till 12/31 of 2015, it took 36.7 days, using the way I calculate. If I was to use from the requisition date to the date we made a conditional offer and use business days that's close to the national average, that turns into 20.8 days. So basically, I wanted to measure ourselves against a national survey, as well as matching ourselves against how we did the year before. But I tried to make the numbers consistent so we weren't actually going, well, why does it take me 16 extra days when actually right now I'm in national average getting someone on board. So basically, that's what I'm going to start doing, and I will make sure that the two are separated out as best I can. If you have any questions on which one I'm going with, I'll just name them and be real careful on what I'm calling them when I calculate days. The rest of the report is pretty much going over again stuff I reported in the past. I just put it in a nice outlined form for easy reference. So if you had any questions, it goes from, I start with page 1, what I'm covering, time period, when I'm using calendar days, and basically why we started doing it this way. The only other major change that I'll be making to this fiscal year is, I think I mentioned this before, I'm taking the advertising time and giving it its own category. Because previously, I have an HR analyst who was being counted for that time. But it wasn't really fair to the analyst because there was nothing she could do on that case for that day. So that's the only difference I've made from previous years.
Okay, anybody got any questions? You have the report before you? Good report.
Thank you very much.
Sir. Okay. At this time, I think we need a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
A motion and second, all in favor say aye. Aye. We are adjourned.